check a couple slides, make sure everything is good. That's next week. That's why I was trying to break it out a little bit better. All right. It's 10 after 11. We're gonna go ahead and get started. Why are these times so off on that? I don't know why. Tonight is February 13th, 2024. It is 8:11 p.m. This will be our session 19. I actually think this is session 20 of our Julius Nyeri CBPM Division 421 of the Universal Negro Improvement Association Officers Training, focusing on Message to the People, Course of African Philosophy, written by Right Excellent Marcus Mosiah Garvey. As always, first thing we want to do is open our meeting with the pledge, and then we will do a brief roll call. Brother Eric, I need you to slow down on anything on pledges, bro.
I'm trying.
I don't know what you.
I'm gonna try to write it instead of doing the lines or any of the other. Right.
You be just. It's like you trying to hurry up and finish.
I'm not hurry up. It's in that makes sense. It's in pieces.
Okay.
It's in pieces.
I'll come. Good pledge, if y'all would, please. Stand. I commit my body, mind, and spirit to the protection, defense, and security of the red, black, and green. I dedicate my life to the redemption of Mother Africa and the liberation of her scattered black children. I accept for myself and my descendants the teachings of universal African nationalism, and I promise that our children will be instilled with purpose and knowledge of themselves as people, in order that the cause of our struggle will neither falter nor fail until all black people are free and united, one God, one aim, one destiny. Race first. Race first. All right. Yeah. But the thing is, no. I'm not gonna. This is what I thought of, because I thought about you. Talking to Brother Eric, by the way, because I'm obviously I watched. I think I was watching. I had to watch last week's, so I could post it last night for tonight's meeting. But I thought about you, and I thought of Malcolm X, autobiography of Malcolm X. He says that there was a time when Malcolm was kind of doing things at his own pace, but moving faster than Elijah Muhammad wanted him to. And he said that Elijah Muhammad taught him that a leader never sets a pace that the followers can't keep up. So that's just something to think about as we're doing it. We're not just doing it for ourselves, but we're doing it for the audience and for the children to be able to recite it with us. So just think about that. Like okay. Any questions, comments before we get started for questions on lesson 18? How's everybody doing tonight? Everybody doing all right?
Greetings, President John.
Greetings, Lady President. Always good to see you. What happened to your mass meeting? Where you was at?
It slipped my mind, President. I was sitting by my phone, and then just before I knew it, I said, dang. But I made the little other meeting, but I did these mess. I'm sorry.
I got you. You check email. I try to send the email as well. So check those. All right. First question for lesson 18, titled Commercial and Industrial Intercourse, isn't it? Commercial and Industrial Intercourse. Why do I have transactions? Is it transactions?
Yes, transactions.
It is transactions. Okay. I don't know what in the world. Okay. Got to do some more studying. This is an opinionated question. What previous lesson does lesson 18 build from? What do we think? What previous lessons should we master and have a clear understanding of to help us understand commercial and industrial transactions? Very straightforward. What is this lesson dealing with? Man.
Economics.
Yes, economy. Commerce and industry are the feeding props of the economic state of life. So we looked at economics earlier on in the lessons from a somewhat of an individual perspective, teaching us to always have a savings, always have a reserve, as well as from an organizational perspective, to always expect a 20% profit when we're doing things. Now we're getting into a more industrial capacity of economics. So commercial and industrial impact of or realm of economics. When it comes to business and industry, what are the two positions that you can have? Producer and consumer. I like that. She in there. When it comes to business and industry, what two positions?
Said the job maker or the employer?
Yes.
You're the employer or employee?
Yes, employer or employee. I mean, consumer and producer would be synonymous, either employer or employee. So we're going to be one or the other. Obviously, we would want to be the employers rather than the employees, but we have to accept one or the other. What are some types of commercial enterprises that Mr. Garvey mentions or that we can think of ourselves? Commercial enterprises. What is commerce? When we think commerce, I would think a food market, textile markets. For some reason, I'm thinking like Walmart, Target. They sell commerce.
Insurance salesman.
Turn it down. Insurance salesman.
It says, in commerce, we have the grocery business, the lumber business, the ironmonger's business, the mercantile business or dry goods business, the clothing business, the tailoring business, retail and wholesale businesses of all kinds.
Yes, ma'am.
So what's the ironmonger's business? That's like iron steel, like how they make like iron doors and
Yes. Yeah.
okay.
So yeah, that's more. It seems almost more industrial, but the concept will make sense as we get through the next couple questions. And I'll kind of come back to it and hopefully bring it all together. Next question, what are some types of industrial enterprises?
Just continue. Industrially, we have the manufacturing business that manufactures the particular articles of commerce, while the farming industry produces such commodities that are necessary for human consumption.
Absolutely, Lady President. So I look at this as the way I look at it is cultivation and what is it called? Refinement. So cultivating resources would be considered industry. Getting the resources from the land. Oh man, I forgot to send this message. I'm sorry. I'm just terrible. say 8:30. Uh, so commerce is or industry is the cultivation of natural resources, getting the resources from the land. And then commerce would be the refinement of those resources and the selling of those completed products. So, like cotton, the picking of cotton would be industry, but as we turn that cotton into clothing, socks, shirts, pants, now we're getting into commerce. So that's the relationship between commerce and industry that we should understand. Questions? Next question. Most of the successful people in the world started with what? According to Mr. Garvey.
With very little
Very little.
and work their way up.
Very little what?
Like little resources, dollars, what have you, and then work their way up.
Yes, ma'am. That's what I was looking for. Capital was the specific term. Someone have that in text, page 141. We got some echo. Sister Diane is beside me. Anybody got that available in the text? Can read that small amount of capital, page 141. I think page 141. How do you?
It might not be. Just see if it's any fire. It might be not.
No echoes, right?
No, it didn't.
So you just talk about the part where you talk about say, so a man who's enterprising with little capital can start a business with his own equally or simultaneously. That part
Looks like it.
If you back out, you can dial
can start a business of his own equally or simultaneously with the man who has large capital. Then he gives an example.
Yeah, but I thought it was something. I thought there was a line that basically said it straightforward. Most successful men start with. Here it is. Most. Let me see if y'all can. I hope y'all can see. Y'all may not. I'm sorry. The share thing is off a little bit. Most of the successful businessmen in the world started with a small amount of capital. So we mentioned this before, starting small. So I believe Mr. Garvey said that was one of the faults that we had as a people when it came to business is the inability to start small and not enough capital. Well, but that's interesting. I'm saying you don't need enough capital, but the point is, when we look at the examples of a lot of successful businessmen, they started small, and we can do the same thing. That's the takeaway. Oh man, I think I'd be answering questions. What has been the fault of the Negro in regards to business, according to Mr. Garvey? I just said it. Yes. How you know that? Page 142. The fault with the Negro in business, commercial or industrial, has been his inability to appreciate starting at a given point and climbing steadily. So start small, but start at a certain point and work consistently, and grow consistently. So we don't need a lot of capital to be successful. We need to be consistent. What happens to people who do not have commerce and industry? Sister, I think she's looking for the light. It's the switch with the switch with the tape on the outside. Yeah. What happens to people who do not have commerce and industry?
They end up employees and workers.
They have employees and workers. It's deeper than that, I think. They end up employees and workers. That makes sense.
Uh, a people perish economically.
Perish economically. That's what I was looking for. They perish economically. You got that for us, Lady President? Can you expound on that a little bit?
Without commerce and industry, a people perish economically. The
Okay.
Negro is perishing because he has no economic system, no commerce, and no industry.
Okay. Okay. So this is another initiative. This is not just a lesson for us to go through and say, "Ooh, we know that." But I look at this lesson similar to the lesson on institutions, similar to the lesson on the social system. These are directives for us to create these things. We don't have our own institutions. We need to create those. We don't have our own societies. We need to create those. We don't have our own industry and commerce. We need to create those. All right. What does Mr. Garvey believe is the safest kind of government for persons of individual initiative who desire to go into business under, and why does he believe that? What is the safest kind of government for individual initiative who desires to go into business? You want to say something? You can just, I can hear you.
I believe it was our system, a capitalistic kind of society.
Our system, capitalistic kind of society. Anyone else?
Democracy.
Democracy. Yes. Yeah. Mr. Garvey says democracy, therefore, is the kind of government that offers the individual the opportunity to rise from a laborer to the status of a capitalist or employer. So Mr. Garvey believed that democracy offered financial and economic opportunity. We
Let's see
good?
what page it was on.
I got page 145.
Okay.
He says democracy, he explains it from piece to piece. Then at the end, he says democracy, therefore, is the kind of government that offers to the individual the opportunity to rise from a laborer to the status of a capitalist or employer.
Yes.
That's the word.
What, employer?
Labor.
Labor. So yeah, again, this is not something we necessarily have to agree with, but we should understand Mr. Garvey's philosophy. Yeah. When we acquire property, what should we always make sure that we get? I think this is the lien, the deed.
Yeah.
The paperwork, that makes sense. I don't like this question. I think I know what the answer is, and it's like,
He says, get the value of your money.
yeah, it's like a profit or something like that. Value for your money. So we'll expand on that later, but I think that's a common principle that we should understand and not just with property, but anything that we are acquiring in business, make sure we get the value for our money.
He also said to research the deed to see what the last buyer purchased the property for.
Yeah, hold on that. I think that's some later
Oh.
questions. Yes. Who regulates the property market? Who regulates the property market? As far as prices going up and down, and I think this is this is a tough question because I thought it would be the customers and
It's
the
the
people
buyer
that
and
buy it.
seller, supply and demand.
Yeah,
But it's
but
not.
what does Mr. Garvey say? Again, we can disagree.
The property market is regulated by the real estate brokers or agents and the mortgaging and trust companies who take mortgages on the property.
Yes. Yep, absolutely. Real estate brokers or agents and the mortgaging and trust company who take mortgages on property. Sister, what's your thoughts on that? That makes sense?
To some extent, but it's also, supply and
Yeah,
demand.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. If people aren't willing to buy it, the price is not gonna keep going up, like, so, all right. This is not our opinion, this is Mr. Garvey's opinion. As far as the Negro is concerned, what is the custom of real estate brokers and mortgaging companies? I think this is what you were saying a second ago, Sister Diane. When it comes to Black people getting involved in real estate, wanting to buy and sell real estate, what does Mr. Garvey say is the custom of real estate brokers and mortgaging companies?
The lowball.
Lowball, pretty much. What's the number? I thought he gave us a specific number.
About 2/3.
He says the property at 1/4, 1/3, and sometimes 1/2, and other times 100% higher than the real value.
Yes. Actually, I didn't even have all that detail. Thank you, Lady President. Thank you, Brother Art, as well. To sell the property at a higher value than it's worth, that's when we're trying to purchase it. And obviously, when we're trying to sell it, they would sell it at a value lower than what it's worth. But yes, we get the short end of the stick. We are not treated fairly when it comes to these transactions. Questions, comments so far? Okay, next question. If when we're looking to find the real value of a property, what two places should we go to in order to find the real value of a property? I remember one.
One is the deed and one is the
Oh.
appraisal, like the property appraisal department.
Property appraisal department and the deed. Anybody else?
Property,
I thought it was the bank and like the previous purchaser.
right, the deed gonna show you. You can find the previous purchase price.
Anybody got this answer? What two places should we go to in order to find the real value of a property? Okay. Official registry for the record of titles and government registry. Anybody got that in the text where he says this? I don't have it listed.
That's 146.
Page one, do you have it?
Yeah.
Can you?
Which part did you just say?
Official registry for Office of Records and Titles and Government Registry are the two places that we should go to find the real value of a property.
So you should first go to the official registry of property transfers.
You got
this community.
Brother Eric.
And the second one
Brother Eric.
was the government.
The people on the call can't hear you though.
Oh, duh.
Can you bring it back up and speak louder?
Is it around?
Huh?
Is it around?
Around? What do you mean? No, you good. I mean, just talk to them. Begging me.
It was page 146.
146. Can y'all hear Brother Eric?
Yeah, I should have logged in on my, is yours still on?
Her mic is.
I think it'll be okay. It should be okay. It should be.
Y'all can hear Brother Eric, right?
Page 146 either way.
All right. Page 146.
Therefore, to be safe when a Negro is purchasing property, he should first go to the office registry of property transfers in his community for a record of titles to find out the price paid for the said property by the last purchaser so that he will know how much he is being charged in excess of the last sale price. He should also go to the government registry where the particular property is assessed for taxation to find out the real value from the government point of view for the property.
Thank you, Lady President. Excellent.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Thank you all. Back door. Okay. Number 13, how have the majority of Negroes in every country lost their property? According to Mr. Garvey. Was that what you said? Gentrification. You're not wrong, honestly.
Therefore, he may be tricked into being off guard to pay your first interest and seeking funds regularly into the first lapse of unpreparedness, he serves you a foreclosing and gets the property back and resells it.
Yes, sir. When we pay, we never get around to paying down the real value of the loan. We get caught up paying the interest, we miss a payment, paying interest, and now we're paying interest and late fees, and we never get to the real value of the loan. And that loan is able to be reverted, or, we lose the loan.
The first few years, you're just paying the interest and not the principal.
Yep, that's it. Yeah, that's the word, principal. Not addressing the principal. So we have to be aware of that. Okay, number 14, what are examples of charitable institutions? What are some charitable institutions? Obviously, we're in a section on charity. The last answer was page 147, so we've gone past page 147.
Could be hospitals.
Hospitals, yes.
Churches.
Churches, I think so, yes. Charitable institutions.
Charitable institutions.
All religious centers.
Schools. Schools. Okay.
Recreational events.
Page 148, anybody got the section page 148? I've got hospitals, homes for the aged, homes for blind, asylums, etc. Anybody got anything on page 148 where Mr. Garvey speaks on that? Text.
Probably to dispense kindness to those in need, society decides on the establishment of institutions for clarity. These may be hospitals, homes for the aged, homes for the blind, farming institutions, asylums, and I would say schools.
Yes.
Or well-organized races have such institutions in their own and contribute
There.
and support them.
Yes. So, again, internally, from a UNIA-ACL perspective, where are our charitable institutions? And again, this is a directive for us to create these charitable institutions. But in order to do that, obviously, we need a stable economy, stable funds. Okay, next question. Where should we give charity and or who should we give charity to?
We should give charity to our own organizations. Basically, charity begins at home.
Charity begins at home, yes. And we should give charity to our own organizations. Do we know why that is? Well, I think because charity begins at home. Charity begins at home, and your race is much nearer to you than a neighboring. So if we're going to do charity, which we should do, very first place that we should do charity is amongst ourselves. Why should we focus on race first in regards to charity?
Everyone else does.
Yeah, everyone else does. I mean, the previous answer kind of, it touches on that as well. So this is just a reinforcement of that. But what'd you say? I'm sorry.
Because everyone else does.
Because everyone else does, yes. But what's the benefit? Why does everyone else do it?
It's nothing like your own kind.
Nothing like your own kind. Mr. Garvey.
Because they want to perpetuate their, whatever they got going on to the next generation.
Perpetuate.
Self-preservation.
It's self-preservation, yes,
Unity.
unity.
Diane, so Sister Diane said earlier, she said, charity starts at home. And Garvey says, he said, your race is much nearer to you
In the neighborhood.
than your neighboring one.
Yes, that was the answer to the previous question, but he also says,
Sending it too far away, yeah.
he also
He
says
said,
something about, it's in relation to our aims and objectives of assisting the needy and reclaiming the fallen. He says something about when we do that,
we help from the ground. Every Negro help from the ground to stand up as another man set on the journey of racial responsibility.
yes, yeah. Well, I got page 148. One destiny, never allow him to fall. Yeah, when we talk about one God, one aim, one destiny, again, we either succeed as a race or we will fail collectively as a race. So it's up to all of us. Never allow him to fall, because as low down as he goes, he may ultimately pull you down with him. As high up as you can send him, he might ultimately pull you up with him. It is like casting bread upon the water to come back to you after many days. So you're contributing. It's like you're contributing and giving charity to yourself. Questions, comments? Well, yeah, we have to lift all of our people. Why should we help to maintain charity in general or in principle? Why should we help to maintain charity? Besides the fact that it's just good to do. Recycling funds, it's more fundamental.
Like it's.
Says, to help a Negro boy or girl become a useful man or woman is probably to assist in giving to the world a greater character who never would have found himself or herself, but for the early help he received from you or your charitable institutions.
That goes into the previous question. That expounds on the previous question. But there's a more fundamental principle as to why we should help to maintain charity.
One may be prosperous today on his own initiative and account and be misadventured, lose the natural ability of self-initiative. To become dependent upon charity, you may lose your eyes, arms, legs. You may lose your health without contributing to it personally, but purely by accident. In this case, you would become a recipient of charity without your expecting it or contributing to the cause.
Yes, sir. Absolutely, Brother Art. I need to add that to my answer. Charity should always be maintained for its own good, to benefit those who may be unfortunate enough to need it, and the next person to need it may be you. So that is the fundamental principle as to why we should help to maintain charity, because we may need it. And if we don't do it, it won't be there when we need it.
Yes.
So, all right, thank you. That was excellent. Any questions on commerce and industry before we move to lesson 19, winning mankind by kindness? We did read 2 lessons last week, so we should be expecting questions for two.
I have a question, President. So, from President's standpoint, Division 421, from that lesson, how do you think, from your standpoint, we should or could imply that? Is that too long of an explanation to give right now? But how can we exude those principles of chapter 18?
Great question. That is a long answer. The first thing that I would from Mr. Garvey that comes to my mind is starting small, or starting somewhere and showing a level of consistency. So I don't know what that would be. I don't know what that product would be. But we will be having some more economic discussions. Parent Body has asked us to participate in a raffle. So
That's what
this is an opportunity for us to come together and figure out how we can execute this idea. But at the same time, we can, in the future, we can either have our own raffle or replace that product with something else. But I think it's starting at a giving point and working consistently is where that's where my mind goes first.
That's right.
We did have a guest on last week that was involved in commodities, and he's yeah, you met him, Lady President, the brother from Black Wall Street. He's got some good ideas in regards to being able to trade commodities, but it is a long answer because for me, again, the takeaway that I get from this lesson from a commerce and industry standpoint is one, we need to own some land. And with that land, we need to be able to make that land produce, whether it's oranges, peaches, apples, cotton, tobacco, whatever it may be. Produce, then cultivate. We cultivate the crops, and then we refine the crops into a product and sell that product. That would be the long-term, nationhood application. But for us at this level, raffle tickets, T-shirts, Garvey Voice magazines, we need to find a way to be able to consistently provide the resources that we have. Because we do have stuff, but it's like, we're not consistent about our sales. Go ahead, sorry, that question.
I was also thinking too, whatever we're involved in, and however we raise fund, we should always be sure to maintain a part of our division that is focused on how can we help our community, what kind of charitable things we can engage in.
Well, hold on now. See, yeah, I'm with you. No, I'm with you. I don't mean to say hold on. There's one thing that we got that I got to learn about this lesson is how Mr. Garvey combined commerce and industry with charity. We have to be. We're doing actually better with charity than we are with commerce and industry.
Because he also said that we had to do both. He said, do it at here, and technically here is here.
Yes.
So where does the line blur between we're the ones who need the, and then them?
As far as charity,
Yeah. If he said start here.
you say where's the line blur between?
Yeah, like you're like for example, where would the, or I guess in a present tense example, where would the raffle fall in priority compared to a charity raffle as an example? You know what I mean?
Well,
Like
the raffle is a charity raffle.
how? I mean, what's the raffle?
It's for the international headquarters.
What's like you join, then what happens?
You purchase a raffle ticket.
Yeah.
And that raffle ticket. So we went over this Sunday, and but we only went over it one time. And this is an idea. This is not really necessarily commerce and industry. I don't think
It's economy,
it's economy.
because you're using it for the
It's like a
headquarters,
spark.
but there's also an opportunity
I know, but
for people to win something.
Yeah, what's the win? Like,
but
what's
this
the
is not commerce and
participation?
industry. This is more
You can just show
economy, because what the product that we're selling is a raffle ticket. We're asking for individuals' financial commitment. That's all. It's almost like a receipt, a certificate. The thing is, and with that, the raffle, you get an opportunity to win money on the back end.
Oh, okay.
But
so
you're
they're
also
doing that.
raising the money to help, they facilitate
Yes.
the rehabbing of the headquarters.
Yes, but I still wouldn't consider this commerce and industry. Because like I said,
It's
commerce,
not generated income.
right,
Right.
like, yeah, again, we gotta get to, you know, the clothes that we wear, you know, this came from something. So, you know, the cotton was grown, it was cultivated, it was refined into threads, and it was sewn into a shirt. It was sold as a shirt.
Right.
That is, you know, industry and commerce.
Right.
Bringing products
Raw
to the market,
materials
you
to
know,
be-
either raw materials, and that's one of the things I was talking with the brother about is, you know, if we had land and we were growing cotton or tobacco or whatever it may be, you can once you grow and cultivate, you can sell those raw resources, as just cotton, as just tobacco, or you can take that additional step to refine it and hopefully increase your profit and sell it as, you know, cigars,
create
tobacco.
industries, create jobs.
Yes. That's commerce and industry.
Right.
This raffle thing, you know, like we're not even making the raffle tickets. Like
Right.
we're going to somebody, telling them what to put on it, and
Right.
they give us a book of raffle tickets. Like, no.
I got you, you're right.
That's us again. That's economy. That's us trying to, you know, fund the economy so that we can invest in industrial and commercial endeavors. But the facility, and that's what this is about, because that facility is property, and that facility gives us a space to either develop raw resources or refine those resources. So that's, yeah, like President, you know, we may not even be at this level, honestly. We probably, from an organization standpoint, we're more so in the economy realm.
Raise first, family.
Raise first, brother Art.
The ancestors just gave me an idea.
What you got?
What is?
Are y'all familiar with Upside?
Upside?
Yeah.
What is this?
Upside is it's a rewards program
Look up Upside.
on the gas you buy for your car.
A rewards program for the gas you buy?
I just heard of that, brother Art, but yeah, keep talking. Yeah, they give you money back on your card every time you spend money. They give you money back.
Right, and it also has a place where you can invite your friends. So if you do that, it builds up your rewards.
4 points, right?
So if 421 had an account and all the members sign in, the members would get their reward and 421 would get a reward. And it's a continuous thing.
Bigger. He's close.
And that would help put some funds in the coffers. Race first, fam.
Race first. I need some more information, brother Art.
That's an okay idea. The only that's a really good idea, but the only single hiccup that like starts when you just a little bit is who is Upside, because of the people that they have. You know, not saying you should judge anyone by that, but definitely who they're with, how they made their thing, because you know that's a good idea. But if we're only going into it for like a year, that's okay. But if we're like, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, and
That's a good one, because but only like it's only talking about how he's saying it'll stop at a certain point. Is all I'm saying.
I need to see it.
Because it's a really good idea, because across like 10
Go
members.
to upside.com. I've been using it and getting money back for a couple years now. And I thought everybody knew
That
about
would be
it.
a good type of thing for like for the trips or something like that. That's a good, it's like the Cashapp cashback thing when you go to places, except across a lot of other ones, and that you can, you know, do it socially, kind of.
Okay. This is gonna do.
Go to upside.com. and check it out. I've been using it a couple years.
I got it. Help me walk through.
I thought everybody was using it. That's why I hadn't mentioned it before. Race first.
This is, that's hard though, that's a good, yes, I agree.
But I think in terms of Garvey, and I mean, that's a great app and it does like give you benefits back. But I think like in terms of Garvey, I think we should make for ourselves that invest in ourselves. It's like more of a so inviting a third party, we should be our own parties where our money circulates within ourselves. So it's just like, Brother Art, if this was your app, for instance, then we should all sign up so we can all get money circulating. And that way it will be money circulating back into us, through us, by us.
Yeah,
I mean,
I understand what you're saying, sister. I thoroughly get that. But I was just saying to get some funds.
yes,
Right
sir.
now, have any
Or to maintain.
anyway, and it's a place to start.
Right. Graceful.
Right on. In regards to funds, I would ask everyone to. In regards to raising funds, I'd ask everyone to be patient. The culmination of this text ends with lesson 22 titled a 5-year plan. And it's a economic plan. And Mr. Garvey tells us exactly where we can get funds from. Let's be patient. Let's get an understanding of Mr. Garvey's 5-year plan and how we can apply that in our.
That's the last chapter.
Yes.
Ashe.
Okay. Any other questions? All right. 8:57. We're doing good with time. Doing good with time. All right. Lesson 19, titled "Winning Mankind by Kindness." First question: what has the ability to move the hearts of all men?
Kindness.
Kindness, yeah. Do you have that in the text? Anybody got that, page 151, a touch of kindness?
Yeah, I have it.
Go ahead.
What, you want me to read it?
Please, it should be what, a sentence or a paragraph?
It says, I guess that a touch of kindness moves the heart of all men.
Okay.
That's it?
Yeah, you good. You good. So when it comes to recruiting, our perception in the community, what people think about when they hear our name or see our face, Mr. Garvey promotes kindness to be one of those things. And for those that were on the mass meeting that we just had, as I said, when you look at some of Mr. Garvey's work, specifically this lesson, and compare it to Dale Carnegie's text, How to Win Friends and Influence People, you will see some of that same sentiment or philosophy from Dale Carnegie in this lesson. But kindness, we should approach the world with kindness. What does it cost for us to be sympathetic to other people's feelings?
Nothing.
What you got there, Sister Diane?
I just remember, but I didn't.
You just remember that one, page 151. Anybody got that?
To be sympathetic and thoughtful of other fellows' feelings may cost you nothing.
Yes, sir. Okay. Straightforward. So it's being kind is not a economic detriment. So not having funds has nothing to do with not being kind. How should we win the world to us? How should we win the world to us?
With a smile. With a smile, with the hearty shake of the hand, with a glad welcome.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So again, some of the same lessons we talked about character, personality, even elocution. There's a certain way in which we approach people and approach the world. I'm sorry, maybe not elocution or leadership, but fundamental lessons about kindness and how we approach the world. All right, where does the money come from for the UNIA to do charity? As we were talking about commerce and industry, we talked about charity. Winning mankind by kindness follows up to reemphasize charity. Where does the UNIA get money from to do charity?
Charitable fund, but primarily through membership.
Does he say that? What does he say they wanted to do? Charitable fund was the answer. Charitable fund of the organization. Obviously, yes, Sister Diane, you're correct. All of our funds, 99% of our funds come through membership. So it is, either through the hearts of our members or from our ability to manage those funds that come in through members. We as leadership have to make sure that we have a charitable fund. And we need to check with our treasurer at the March executive meeting and see what our financial status looks like, how much we have for a general fund and how much we have for a charitable fund. Questions, comments? But every organization, well, not every division should have, let me not say that because I think that's a damn question. What is the name of the Universal Negro Improvement Association Parent Bodies Charitable Fund? I don't know if that's in the text.
That's the
Constitution.
yeah.
What is the name of our leadership, high executive council, parent body, the charitable fund and the Constitution? What is the name?
Oh, that's the fucker rock.
No, ma'am.
Oh, yeah.
And it's interesting that you said that, but no, ma'am, not at all.
What was it?
Hmm?
What was it?
She said Facaroc. You know what that is? Yeah. FACAROC. Yeah,
Would that be
good
the
luck.
African
Good luck.
Communities League?
What's that?
Would that be the African Communities League?
No, sir.
Redemption? No.
Okay.
Dang.
The African Communities League is the other half of the Universal Negro Improvement Association.
Right, it's the business portion. I just thought it might be under there.
Yeah. Not interestingly, yeah, I ain't gonna say, you see, y'all ready? We submit, we don't know our parent body charitable fund.
We can't possibly drag this on too long, so yes, okay, but I wanna look through
What
it.
were you saying? What did
I
you
was
think
about-
about Brother Eric?
You said it was something else from the first thing I said, so I'm there too, but I'm not about to look through there, it's okay.
No, what did you said something that was very, very close.
Did I?
Yeah.
I'm not sure, I didn't think it was the right answer, so I got rid of it, I don't remember.
All right. My students.
I thought it was
That's
wrong.
something we should know, right?
What did I
Have
say?
we ever talked about the
Repeat the
African
question.
Redemption Fund?
Oh, I did say, I said redemption.
Have we ever talked about that?
Wait a minute, not remember.
Okay, so now I'll look it up. That's what I thought it was.
We have talked about that, right?
Yeah.
Am I doing a good job as president?
Yeah.
All right.
So you highlight, it wasn't, I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't as in-depth as probably,
Yeah.
but. you
I
did-
think it's more of a so mentioned president than, talked about or explained. I don't think we ever had talked about it with the new members. So
I got
don't
you.
be too hard on yourself.
No, I got you.
Absolutely.
But I'm big on charity, so we should know the name of our charitable fund. The African Redemption Fund is our highest charitable fund that we have in the organization. That's all. I just have a passion for charity. So and we should also know that so that we know the purpose of that fund and how that fund is intended to be used. So that's the other aspect of it. All right, what does Mr. Garvey say is the purpose of the organization? And I know we've talked about this before. We've actually had this question. What is the purpose? Mr. Garvey he has different answers at different lessons. But in this lesson, he says the purpose of the organization.
I just want to answer because he wants us to win.
Purpose of the organization is for us to win.
Yeah.
I can't say you're wrong. You're not wrong.
For the most part. Yeah, keep going. For the most part.
What does he say in this lesson is the purpose of the organization? So somewhere after page one, or either 152 or later.
Any way the organization can help our people, they should do it.
Yes. Right.
What do we got on page 153 in regards to helping the needy, the distressed, and to assist all members of the race who need
They
help?
remember that the organization is for the purpose of helping the needy, the distressed, and to assist all members of the race who need help.
Yes, ma'am. So
And it was bookmarked too.
so very straightforward. Purpose of the organization is for the helping the needy, the distressed, and to assist all members of the race who need help, reinforcing our charitable directives. Questions, comments?
Help the race first on that.
Okay, after we have done our charity, once people have recovered from their bad condition, according to Mr. Garvey, what will be the pillar on which the organization sits?
It's gratitude.
Gratitude. What does he elaborate, please, for us, Lady President?
He said, let the gratitude of the Negro people in your community be the pillar on which the organization rests in your community.
Yes. Yes. It's not as straightforward or as one-to-one. It's not like, we do a feeding program and now, everybody that we helped is now a pillar for us. I think this is a consistent thing. And it's going to take time, but I do agree with Mr. Garvey. Questions, comments? So, yeah, the gratitude from the charity that we provide should be a pillar upon which the organization can rest. What should every division of the UNIA have in order to do charitable work?
A charitable fund.
We should always be a charitable fund.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Sister Diane, can you elaborate a little bit? What is he? Or is it just that straightforward? Every organization have a charitable fund to do charitable work.
And a certain amount should be placed at the disposal. The disposal of our responsible representatives of the association. And this should be for the dispensing of charity to the neighborhood in which they live.
So just a reminder, we, again, 421, we've had a charitable fund since 2021, officially. Anything that is contributed to Division 421 from any of our members, outside of dues, goes towards our charitable fund. So questions, comments on that? We do have a charitable fund. It's not, I got a couple hundred or something. But yeah. Okay. But it's a principle that Mr. Garvey teaches. We should have a charitable fund. We should fund our charitable fund. So we should be doing.
Constitution said $5. Constitution says $5.
For what?
It's not, that's what it said, for the big, for
Yeah,
the big grand one, so scaling that down,
We gotta check, the numbers.
which one on there? It said 5 and 10. In here, you mean?
For what, for the redemption fund?
The redemption fund was 5 and 10, so I'm saying scaling that down would be. That's what I'm asking.
I don't understand what you're asking.
You were about to say what price, you were about to say that would be about,
What was it?
okay, then finish.
I don't remember what I'm saying.
Then go from there, how much should someone give to the charitable funds where it's not like a given, cause in there it says it shouldn't be a given tax, they're separate, of course, but in there it says it shouldn't be a given tax,
Right,
but it also for a division, it should be like a, you know,
a certain amount.
It's per
that's what
division,
I'm saying, so
right?
what would be the, is that a by division case, is it by, since it's charity, is it like, okay, well, I only have $1, or if it's on, you know what I mean?
It's by division, but it's also, I mean, charity is not something that you can, you know,
course.
enforce. Yeah, you can't say you have to give $5 of charity.
course.
Charity is also what people can do and out of the kindness of their own hearts. So I think putting a number on it is the wrong thing to do. Because if you put 5, some people may not be able to do 5, and others can do way more than 5.
Become like church telling you have to do 10%.
Yeah, that folds.
Charity, yeah, it should be genuine.
Right.
You know, so we should have a goal as to how much funds we're trying to get or raise for whatever purpose, and take that to the community and ask the community for charitable contributions so that we can reach our goal.
It should be,
That's the way I look at it.
it should be general, and it should be in accordance to the ability of the individuals who are participating.
But the thing is, like, we don't have a recurring charity contribution. So what I was trying to say is, for the way our charitable fund works now is if you were to, let me see, if someone were to contribute $100, what we would do, if they don't specifically say that this is for dues, you know, we put $50 towards dues, and then the other 50 would go towards charitable fund. So that's kind of how we do it. So if, yeah, any funds that we get, if people don't explicitly say what it's for, we apply half of it to funds and half of it goes to charity. With a charity. What are you thinking about? What's the point?
No, we're on a strict, we're good, I'm with it.
All right, last 2 questions, then we got the reading. If men remember you for nothing else, they will remember you for this. This is, I think, 2-part. Well, this is what Mr. Garvey says, but I think it's another aspect to it.
They will remember your kindly deeds.
Yes. Yes. The kindly deed, the touch of sympathy, the seldom comes from others. So your kindness will be remembered. I also think your mistakes will be remembered, because you kind of touched on that earlier. That's what people are looking for. So if they see something, like they go, I got him. You know, he had a hole in his pocket. You know, that one time, I'm never gonna forget it. So, you know, hey, I got,
Hey, man.
So, yes, again, it's about perception, character, how we are perceived.
How to remember you
Yes.
for the charity, though.
Yes, sir.
I mean, because people will remember you for a lot of different things, but, you know, within this context.
Yes, yes, yep. We want to be remembered for our charity, for our kindness, the touch of sympathy, and as you know, as I said, that seldom comes from others, so it's a rare act. All right, last question. Any other questions? Any questions, comments before we go to the last question? All right, last question, very important, kind of brings it all together, and it's in the text, so I'd like somebody to read it from the text as well. What is the duty of every member of the UNIA? What is the duty of every member of the UNIA? According to Mr. Gardner.
It's the kindliness and the touch of sympathy that's kind of like the last answer.
Yeah, but I think there's a line that at least a sentence when Mr. Garvey is explicit.
For the kind deed, the touch of sympathy that seldom comes from others, which is the duty of every representative of the UNIA.
Got you right. Yeah, that's what I got in the answer I said above, to be kind. Again, Mr. Garvey is making it explicit. This is the duty of every member of the UNIA to be kind. No questions asked. Questions, comments, anything? Oh, yeah.
Everybody inside or outside the community.
What is the duty of every member of the UNIA is to be kind? What do you mean by that, Brother Cornelius?
I was just because I know the chapter seems to talk about doing charity to the community.
Yes.
And I was just wondering, I mean, I wouldn't say that in no way would I advocate go out there and be mean to folk, but you know, is it?
Yeah. Go ahead, Brother Cornelius, get it out. Brother Cornelius, you there?
President Liverpool.
Be kind to us, you know, like racist or anything like that. Folks that would be enemies of the UNIA and its mission, do we still want to extend kindness to them?
I see what you're saying.
He said as best we can. He said as best we can if we're going by like on here. He said best we can.
Yes,
He was saying best we can. If we can reach out with a handshake, then do that.
Right.
Like sit
And
there
I
and
shake
scout
our
on that.
compliments, but as far as charitable stuff, it begins at home.
Yes.
yes,
So I
but
guess that's almost like
That's the board. Yeah.
King's message of nonviolence and love even toward your enemies then too, huh?
no, sir. No, sir. Y'all are misunderstanding. That's why I'm just letting y'all, I'm letting y'all get it out.
I see what you're
But
saying.
y'all misunderstanding.
That's not
Y'all misunderstanding. And your question is,
fair.
but your question is being kind to individuals that we know are against us. It's kind of where you're going, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you know, do we extend that kindness to everybody? Or just we talking about kindness to the community in order to uplift the community?
I see what you mean. When Mr. Garvey says the duty of every member of the UNIA to be kind, does that mean we have to be kind to everyone?
Right.
The white people. We have to be, respectful and whatever.
Yes.
Well,
See, no. No, this is good. This is good.
It's coming out wrong.
And that's why you gotta be careful. But number two, the second question that we asked during tonight, what does it cost for us to be sympathetic?
Nothing.
It doesn't cost anything. So
You should respect and be kind to everybody.
kindness doesn't cost
Right,
anything.
right.
Two caveats. One is internally when it comes to our people. And this can also be applied to others as well. But one lesson that we have to understand and master is the lesson on man. Mr. Garvey teaches us that,
like number 3.
but Mr. Garvey teaches us that our people, as well as others, are ignorant, and we have to be compassionate to their ignorance. He says that a lot of their actions and the things that they carry out or the things that they believe they're a victim of someone else's propaganda. That's what Mr. Garvey teaches us. So from an ignorance aspect, we should be kind to them. They don't know any better. And then on the other hand, the other lesson that we have to master is diplomacy. So Mr. Garvey says that even if you have, to an extent, if you got a knife, behind your back, you can't let your opponent or the person that you are against know that. You know, you still have to approach them with a smile. You still have to approach them with the hearty handshake. You still have to call them your good friend. But that's diplomacy. So those are the two aspects in which I would say why we are still encouraged to be kind to those that are against them.
My answer to the question, because I thought he was saying, if you know that they're against you, should you be kind to?
Yes,
Yes,
is what
you
he
should.
said, yes.
I guess.
Yeah.
You have to smile at who you're willing to kill and kill who you're willing to smile at. Bottom line.
Diplomacy, I think, is one of the best lessons as far as why we should give the perception of kindness. So, Brother Cornelius, like it's as Mr. Garvey said, we have to be a mental twister. We can't always show our cards and our intentions, and that's part of being kind and smiling, even if we don't want to.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. I think at one point, Mr. Garvey said, smile with the world, even if your mother is dead. You know, the world doesn't, you know, the world didn't vex you or something like that. So yeah, it's a lot in here. But again, this is about diplomacy and representation. And as we're being representatives of our race and of our people, we should do that with characteristics of kindness. Whether they are openly against us or for us, you know, in the public.
Well, I wondered too, how far does it need to go? Because I mean, you can smile and give a handshake as a greeting.
Yes.
But if you're talking with somebody who's constantly being rude to you, you know, or insulting you or hostile or something, do you continue being kind? Or is that kindness just, you know, greet them with a smile and a handshake?
You continue to be kind.
Is kindness is neutral.
You continue to be kind. Again, we're going back into earlier lessons, but Mr. Garvey says something like you give them gifts that you can afford to lose, or gifts that you don't care about.
Yeah, just to say you did that, you tried to.
It's about perception, you know. There's always an audience. So yes, we have to always portray kindness.
Okay.
You almost said like they immediately went, like sat across the table. That's ridiculous. Like it's better to go out as the nice one than the other one.
Yes.
Is what he's like. That's the whole point of what he's saying. To at least come is let them do it first, so they can be the one that was like escalated.
Yes.
They're,
perception. You know, we have a reputation to create and to uphold, and that reputation will be one of kindness. Obviously, it's not stupidity. It's not being run over. It's not being oblivious, but as far as how we are perceived, it should be as kind individuals. That's it. Until we get to a point where we have a standing military, where we have a military budget, where we have, you know, tanks, a fully staffed and funded, you know, army, military, whatever, we are approaching the world with kindness. You know, we are approaching the world with kindness.
Well, I think we should always approach the world with kindness until you get reason to do otherwise, until they give you reason to change your course.
That reminds me of one of the presidents, I think it was FDR, speak softly and carry a big stick, you know, so. You know,
I think that was Teddy Roosevelt.
Okay. But that's the
Speak
same sentiment, you know. Be prepared for whatever is to come, but, you know, don't be the aggressor, you know. So that's our approach. But yeah, I don't think we want to get into the aspect of talking big and bad, especially not right now. So we have to smile even in the face of our enemies. 9:25, so we need to get to our reading and close out for this evening. Sister Diane, will you be reading for us this evening? No? We'll read.
My name is Empress, by the way.
Empress.
Yes.
You're absolutely right. That's exactly.
Lesson 20, living for something. So, one second. A great follow-up to what we just talked about as far as charity, and making sure we have a charitable fund, to be able to do those charitable works. So this is effectively one of the last lessons. I mean, obviously it's one of the last lessons, lesson 20. The next two lessons, one is a history of the UNIA. So it's kind of a recap of, the UNIA and how we should approach the future of the UNIA. And then lesson 22, obviously, is the 5-year plan. So as far as our development, this is the last lesson that really touches on our development. Okay, I'll leave it at that. And Sister Empress, you have a I'm handing the floor over to our Sister Empress for tonight's reading.
Life is an important function.
Wait. Lesson 20 minutes.
Oh, lesson 20. Living for something. Life is an important function. It was given for the purpose of expression. The flower expresses itself through the beauty of its bloom. The vine expresses itself through its rambling, search, and settling its own peculiar nature. The tree expresses itself in its smiling green leaves, shaking branches, and sometimes hanging fruit. The lark expresses itself in its laughter and song. The river expresses itself in its gentle meandering unto the sea, and man expresses himself according to the idealistic visions of his nature. There is a scope for each life. Let yours find its scope and fully express itself. Man should have a purpose, and that purpose he should always keep in view with the hope of achieving it in the fullest satisfaction to himself. Be not aimless, drifting and floating with the tide that doesn't go your way. To find your purpose, you must search yourself, and with the knowledge of what is good and what is bad, select your course, steering towards the particular object of your dream or desire. Never enter upon life's journey without a program. Simpleton as you may be, you can have a program. No ship ever reaches port without a positive destination beforehand. Otherwise, it will drift on the mighty ocean to be overtaken by the storm or the ill wind that blows. The sensible captain goes to sea with a chart to map out his course so as to reach his harbor of safety. Your program is your chart through life. Everything you do it by method. Nothing succeeds continuously or repeatedly by chance. You may get success in a particular direction by accident, but it was chiefly because that accident was the correct method in achieving that particular thing. And you happen to have struck upon the right method by chance. But trying chances that way a second time may bring you failure, as it generally does. To follow the correct method will give you the same results all the time. Therefore, make your life a methodical one. rise at a certain hour, work up to a certain hour, retire at a certain hour. Do everything on your time so that your entire system becomes methodical. If you have something to do and it ought to be done, do it with proper method or system to get the best results. Study it first, then go after doing it. If a thing is worthwhile doing, it is worthwhile doing well. How pitiful it is to see a man living without a program, not knowing how he is going to use his todays and tomorrows. If you follow him long enough, you will find him going down the ditch of failure because he has been traveling without a program. Observe the other man who has his program and see him go from one step to the next with success. If you have a program, you know what comes next. If you have none, you have to improvise one, and then it is too late to do it properly, and so you will fail. If you want to be 5,000 miles away in December and it costs $50 to avoid being disappointed at the last moment, start in January to think about your trip and make arrangements for it so that when time comes, you will be perfectly ready. Make this a practice in everything. Don't wait until time arrives. Think ahead. Always try to look beyond the present by calling upon your past experience when you are looking at the future. Analyze it. Arrange it to suit your needs so that when things come upon you, you will be ready. Don't let things come upon you suddenly. The man who lives in the present, preparing for the future, always enjoys a better future than the man who doesn't visualize it, but who goes right into it unprepared. Seeing the future and preparing for it is a worthy object. Always try to look into the future. You make slight mistakes here and there, but if you gauge it properly with the experience of the past and the conditions of the present, you may strike an even or accurate estimate of what it ought to be, so that when it comes, you will be able to welcome it with some kind of satisfaction. To live for something doesn't only mean something for yourself, but something for your kith and kin, and something for your race. If a father lives for something, he ought to be able to see his children through that something, so that what he does not accomplish for himself might be accomplished for his children. For instance, an industrious father lives with the hope of improving his social and economic condition. He would like to live in a beautiful mansion on the hill from which he can see the country places around, the valleys, the dales, and the lofty mountains. But he is working in the valley, living in a small cottage. He is growing older without his dreams realized, but he looks at his son. He looks to his son and says, if I cannot enjoy this desire of mine because I may be too old, when the time comes, I shall make it possible for my son or grandson to live on top of that, to live on that hilltop. That is living in the future. That is living for something. When the old man dies, the son inherits what the son, when the old man dies, the son inherits. And when the son dies, the grandson inherits. Inherits what? That which the grandfather lived for. This should be the policy of every Negro, to live for something to hand down to a son or a grandson so that they may have life a little easier than their fathers before them. This is the way successful and great families have come into the world, and great races too. No Negro should be objectiveless or purposeless in life. Always have a purpose. To waste time in non-essentials is to be purposeless. Playing bone dice is purposeless. There is nothing achieved in the time wasted in doing it. No great fortune is guaranteed. No great art is accomplished. No structure is built because it is a game of chance. Playing pool is waste because, like playing the dice, it is a game of chance. Sitting around and going from place to place without an occupation is waste. Valuable time is gone and nothing is being registered by way of achievement. When one settles down upon a given and worthy idea or occupation, such as an engineer, architect, builder, farmer, poet, or a teacher, he is working on something that may become tangible in results. It is from such tangible assets that we build fortunes. Find something tangible to do and use your time in doing it well. It is better that you be dead than having no purpose in life. Ella Wheeler Wilcox says, have a purpose, and that purpose keep in view. For drifting like a helmless vessel, thou canst near to self be true. The ship without a helm must founder the rock. Why be such a ship? Why not sail through life like the barrack whose helm is perfect? Be a captain with chart in hand, seeing his port as he sails steadily on. See your port, visualize it, and as it comes time, anchor it. The dignity and pride of race. God made man as a complete and finished being. There are no flaws in him but his sin. The race of man, therefore, must be perfect in its physical origin. Hence, there is nothing to be ashamed of as far as species is concerned. The black man's origin is true to the sun. He need not, therefore, apologize for his existence. His place in the world is fixed as a star, and as such, it is incumbent upon him to maintain the dignity and pride of his manhood. There is nothing unusual about the Negro other than he is himself as man sick. Man sick. There is nothing unusual about the Negro other than he is himself as man sick. He is beautiful in himself, and why not so? The Anglo-Saxon sees beauty through himself. The Teuton sees beauty through himself. The Mongol sees beauty through himself. And so naturally and logically, the Negro ought to see beauty through himself. When the Negro attempts to see beauty through the aquiline features of an Anglo-Saxon, then he imagines the homelessness and ugliness of his own features because his features are different from those of the Anglo-Saxon. Beauty must be reflected out of your own eyes. A Negro must be beautiful to a Negro, as an Anglo-Saxon is to an Anglo-Saxon. The highest standard of beauty, therefore, for a Negro is the Negro. Never allow any race to say that your race is not beautiful. If there is ugliness in a race, it is in the other race, not yours, because the other race looks different to you. To the Anglo-Saxon, the Mongol is ugly. To the Mongol, the Anglo-Saxon is ugly. Compare the Anglo-Saxon and the Negro, it is the Anglo-Saxon who is ugly, not the Negro. The long, sharp nose of the European cannot be considered beautiful against a strong, healthy, air-free nasal passage of the black man, who is free from the nasal defects that make health difficult. The thin lips of the European could not be beautiful compared to the strong, healthy, developed lips of the African. These are the ways self-respecting people see themselves. The round, healthy face of the African is much more beautiful than the straight, sickly looking face of the European, then why surrender all that is good in you and discount it for that which doesn't reach a standard comparable to yours and others? Always think yourself as a perfect being and be satisfied with yourself unless you are jellyfish. Never allow anyone to convince you of your inferiority as a man. Rise in your dignity to justify all that is noble in your manhood as a race. My race is mine, and I belong to it. It climbs with me, and I shall climb with it. My pride is mine, and I shall surely honor it. It is the height on which I sit daily. The social confusion. Man at his best in his society is always quarreling. He is never satisfied. Don't believe that you will find in your lifetime the solution for all his problems and ills. Attend only to those that concern you in your group. If you can solve your own group's problems in your community, you have done well. Let others solve theirs. The time you waste running around with others and helping them in their problems, you are robbing your group of that much time to help them solve their problems. Whether a man is sober or drunk, he is a disagreeable beast. You will find it so in every community. So search for your man and tame the beast. He is never of the same mood all the time. At one time, you think you can like him. At another time, you think you could kill him. Tame him towards the end of your own social satisfaction. For dabbling in the confusion of others will only make you more confused, and your divided energy will only tend to defeat the special purpose which you should have in solving the problems of your race. Never forget that all other groups in society of your community are looking after their own group's interest. And your interest, except from the community point of view, is never theirs. Therefore, their interest should never be yours, as far as the particular group's interests are concerned. Don't be disappointed if other people shock you by their behavior, because man is made that way. He acts that way chiefly because he is racially different. The white man may compliment you today and abuse you tomorrow simply because of your race. Don't trust the whole community then. Don't trust the whole community then if it is made up of different groups, because it is apt to disappoint you by being selfish at any moment as far as the division of particular interest is concerned. Always pick out your interest in the community and conserve it because others are doing the same. It is only when you tread on the heels of others by accident that you find out that there are differences between you and others. Your mistake doesn't have to prove a fact. The fact was there before your mistake. It is always a fact that each group has its own individual and collective racial problems. The white man can never be a Negro. The Negro can never be a white man, except after eternity. And you do not live that long. You may be the same in soul, but you cannot see a soul. So the similarity is beyond you. What you can see is yourself physically, and there is no doubt that there is physical differences between you and the other man. So watch your step in the social confusion of life. Always remember that another person is not you, for that other person knows too well that you are different from him. He is always on guard to divide the line of interest. This applies everywhere all around you, in your home, office, workshop, in the street, and in the community. Your wife will grab the article and say, "This is mine," and refuse to give it up. Although you thought you were one and what was yours was hers and hers yours. She always has a time to claim her own, either in peace or confusion. So always have your own in the social confusion of life, because even you and your partner may have to run in different directions to save your skins. If a person is gone with what is yours in another direction, and you may lose your life following what you should have been carrying with you. If a person is gone with what is yours in another direction, you may lose your life. You may lose your life following what you should have been carrying with you. Never forget this. It is of great importance to you for your own safety. You should always have your own fare to pay the conductor. You may have to walk while the other person rides, because you can never tell where confusion will spring up. It may be in the street near the neighborhood. It may be 100 miles from town, and it will be a long walk if the car moves off because of the confusion between you and the driver. Always expect confusion in the dividing line in the social contact of life.
Completes reading. Thank you, Sister Empress. Excellent job. And you actually gave a demonstration of lesson 4, elocution. Very, very, very well. So that completes lesson 20. Next week we'll have history of the UNIA. That's a very long lesson. And then after that, we will use our makeup session to go over the 5-year plan, and then we'll have exams first Saturday and second Saturday of March. Any questions, comments thus far? 9:47. Very good. One thing I did want to say, I was talking with Brother Eric before we got started. One thing our big focus moving forward, HEC, High Executive Council in Philadelphia, April 10th through 13th officially. We will probably be traveling April 9th and coming back April 13th. But I need to know from officers specifically who would be planning to attend and planning to travel from Atlanta. I've got to get with our first vice president. He's going to be coordinating, helping to coordinate travel and logistics. But the key thing is we need to know how many people can go at that time. So just something to think about. If you want to let me know now, that's fine. Our mass meeting, our next mass meeting in February, I'll be asking our officers and members, and then executive meeting first Saturday of March 2nd. We will need to, at that point, we'll need to be finalizing who's expected to go and what the expectations are for everybody. So that's all I got. If anybody doesn't have anything, we close out.
Yeah, groups of 7 or 8.
Groups of 7 or 8 travel.
Yeah, just for information wise, as the person hearing it, it's best to know that group. It's probably at the right size or whatever. It's going to be groups of 7 or 8. That's the only thing that would be worth adding, I think.
So that's the expectation. In the past, if 7 people would be like the largest group we've ever taken anywhere. So if we can get 2 groups of 7 or 10 or
5. I think 5. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then someone has a whole row. I think that's good. I think that's a good deal, especially for the price. I think that's a good thing.
Brother. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
He's talking about Brother Eric has been looking at some vans, and if we get vans, we'll be traveling in groups of 7. So just some things to think about. We are looking at some things behind the scenes, but the key thing is who desires to go and would be willing to go. So you don't have to answer now, but we will need that information finalized for our March executive meeting.
But it's 6 is exactly, that's after this, you're gonna notice.
All right.
After 6, you're gonna notice that we're all going.
Okay.
Get into it.
Yeah, we're about to get out of here. It's 9:49. Late Sister Diane, would you do us the honors of closing us out?
Everyone, raise your black fist in the air. One God,
One God,
God,
aim,
one aim,
one aim,
one destiny.
one
one
destiny.
destiny.
Africa,
Africa,
for the
Africa,
Africans,
for the
for
Africans,
the
those at
Africans,
home
those at home,
those at home,
and those abroad.
and those abroad.
Race first, everyone.
race first.
Race first.
Thank you, brothers and sisters. And again, once we finish in March, we will switch over our Tuesdays. We'll switch over to Constitution study groups, but we have to get ready for Constitution resolutions to be presented at HEC. So we'll shift once we finish message to the people. All right, see y'all next week. Race first, family.
Race first.